Well, hello and welcome to Eliminating Procrastination. I am your host. My name is Allison Johnson, and I am glad to see you again this month for our ongoing webinar series. So, welcome. It's good to see you all. And I know a lot of you have come back and you've actually made all four of the webinars that we've done in the past. So, welcome, and it's good to see you. Let me tell you a little bit about who I am. I am the president and owner of the Lee Johnson Group. One of the things here is that we focus on organizational training, and we are doing a whole new relaunch, if you will, and we are launching into coaching. So webinar series are always free and exciting topics. There are some out on YouTube that you can go and you can check out as well. Also, we do group coaching, mastermind groups, and one-to-one coaching. Growing leaders and teams to impact humanity is really where my heart is. And you may say, humanity, Allison, that's pretty big. Well, actually, it's wherever your humanity is. Sometimes it's in your family, sometimes it's in the office, sometimes you're leading and you want to do something that's going to have an impact on those you lead. So that's what we are about. Let me give you just a quick disclaimer. Just know that anything in this workshop, everything in this workshop, there's nothing in here that is medical in nature. We are not prescribing anything or diagnosing anything. If you find that anything that you hear causes you where you want to do some more exploration, I want you to see a medical doctor or a mental health provider. And but we will be dealing with the category and education of eliminating discrimination. All right, so with that said, let's keep going, and welcome to Eliminating Procrastination. So one of the things that we have to look at when we understand this dynamic of procrastination is that there is a gap sometimes between our intention and what we want to do, the actual action. And when there's a big gap and there's a continuous gap in that, what we know is it can be damaging to our future in several ways. So, what do you think is the number one reason why people procrastinate? Some people say fear. Some people say they don't know where to start. Some people say it's just too big, or I don't know what I'm doing. They lack a confidence. Those are some of the reasons why people will say is the number one reason why people procrastinate. What about you? Let me give you an outline. I love this quote, though, by Abraham Lincoln. And he says, you cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. You can't escape the responsibility. So let's see what we can begin to do today. In the workshop today, in the webinar, we're going to be talking about some triumphs and the cost of procrastination. We will also take a look at and examine 5 challenges that get in the way of why we procrastinate. And then we're going to look at 9 techniques. Yes, 9 techniques. I know that's a lot, but you know what? I want you to have the information and you'll decide what makes sense for you. So that's where we're going. Now is the new later. Let me say that again. Right now is the new later. Perhaps you've been telling yourself, I'm going to get to that later. But what I hope that this webinar will equip you with is it's really now. And I can do it now. Procrastination, simple definition, is delaying, postponing, or avoiding doing a task. Real simple. And when we understand that, we can be triumphant. Everyone puts off procrastination and tasks from time to time. However, problems arise when procrastination begins to impact us in a way that is negative. For example, if you suffer from chronic procrastination, it's going to extend to matters of your health as well as your ability to improve yourself. You may be at risk of adverse outcomes. Now, let me tell you something about a person who I'm going to dedicate this webinar to. Her name is Carnell Wendell Jin, and she was a friend, and she was a social worker. And one of the things, she was also battling a serious illness. She had scheduled to come to this webinar today, but on Saturday, she went to be with Jesus. Let me tell you, she did not let her health get in the way of improving herself. So I dedicate this webinar to Carnell because she was supposed to be here. She signed up and everything. That's the kind of thing I want, no matter what, for you, that you're willing to push through and to be the best person you can be, even in the midst of storms or things that are happening. Bless you, Carnell. So what procrastination can look like? I want you to select one of these as you hear them. A lot of times when we think about procrastination, we say, well, it's laziness, it's over entertaining yourself, binge watching on Netflix, or whatever it is that you do to entertain yourself, excessive rest, excessive work, social media, as well as, for me, if I'm procrastinating, I need to run to the store. I'll think like, okay, I need a new brush in my sink in the kitchen, right, to do my dishes. So I need to go to the dollar store. No, you need to go downstairs to your office and you need to get some work done. All right. The key is we want to do now, not later, never, sometime in the future, someday. Oh no, we want to get it done now. Also, another thing that can get in the way is industriousness, right? Baking dozens of treats, right? And like, oh, I need to make some cakes or cupcakes or cookies, or I think I need to try that cheesecake recipe. All right. Gardening, spending out time doing that instead of something that you say you want to get done. Maybe it's tinkering with some type of gadget. You're a mechanic, or something is not quite right. Or maybe you're researching something you want to do, but you are over analyzing and researching things, and you never end. Okay, and you never get started. And you can see the last one: emails, visits, phone calls. Take a moment and think about which one of these is yours. Look at this quote here at the bottom: no more excuses or procrastination. Stop allowing your days to be stolen by busy nothingness. And all of these things, while in themselves are not bad, they can become busy nothingness. So take a moment, and hopefully you have a piece of paper out and you can kind of record this for yourself. And you can always stop the video as well. All right, the danger of putting things off. So again, triumphantly, we can be triumphant when we know what we're doing, and we don't allow ourselves to do that, because we know that self-improvement and our health are important for us. The cost and the danger of procrastination is this: First of all, when we talk about chronic procrastinators, about 20% of the population are considered true chronic procrastinators. Things pile up and they become immobilized. Chronic procrastination often suffers. Let me begin again. Slow down, Allison. Chronic procrastinators often suffer from broken marriages, lost jobs, deflated dreams, financial disarray. And what all of this does is it robs you of your self-esteem. You feel like you can't get anything done. These are serious issues. And while putting off tasks you've been dreading is one thing and may be harmless, if it's out of control, it can in fact lead to severe consequences. So what are some telltale signs that you could be what is called a chronic procrastinator? Here are some things. You have difficulty coping with change and transition. You're lost without a roadmap. If somebody doesn't tell you what to do or you don't have it all, that might be a problem. Your to-do list is never ending. You take things and you put it on the to-do list. You don't get it done today, so you put it on the to-do list for tomorrow and tomorrow. And before you know it, I know someone said that they had a 6-page to-do list. What? That is insane. Obviously, they are a procrastinator because number one, they have too much on their to-do list. And if you're rolling it over and rolling it over, guess what? Maybe you don't even want to do it. So why is it on a to-do list? Because to do means to act. Also, your focus on non-essential office work instead of what needs to get done. So your focus is in the wrong area, right? And you're avoiding something, okay, or postponing it. That's what we're talking about. Now, some of you know me, and I am into personality types, right? And assessments to help us to understand concepts and our ideas in different ways. And so there's actually a procrastinator. There's some procrastinator types. And according to Graham Harry in this article, he talks about 3 of them. The first one is the arousal type. And this person is a thrill seeker, right? They get some kind of rush for waiting until the last minute. And they're up till 3 o'clock in the morning and they get it done. And they sit back and they're like, oof, I did that. Yes, I did. They give themselves brownie points, pat themselves on the back. I call this the hero syndrome. Hero syndrome, because you really did need your rest. Why are you up to 3 o'clock at night? And this gives you a thrill. There'll be some other things that give you a thrill, okay? And not procrastinating. The avoider type, this is the person that has a fear of failure. And so they would actually rather be called incompetent or lazy versus failing at something. So they have a fear of failure, so they'll just avoid. The next one is the decisional type. These are the people that can't get off the fence. They can't decide on things. And so they live in this limbo ambiguity place. And the key is for them, they don't want to take risks. They don't want to, and really life happens to them. They don't happen to life. They don't launch. And we want to be people that launch. We want to be people that get things done. So let's take a look at these telltale signs. Chronic procrastinator poll, where do you fall? Now I'm going to show you this, and you get a moment to take a look at this and where you fall. I love this scale because some of you are probably, you're in this webinar and you're taking it for somebody else, all right? Because you don't procrastinate. You got your list and your details and you just are on it, right? And then there's others of us that will find ourselves somewhere on this scale. You may be in the chronic procrastinator level, and You may not be. I know for me, I kind of focus there on that moderate to somewhat strong, and really moderate for the most part. I can procrastinate. And then I fall into that hero type because it's like, oh yeah, I got it done. But I really did need to get some sleep. All right. So hopefully you've had a chance to look at this and you have made a mark on your paper somewhere that where you are. And as you can already tell, this is an interactive webinar and we want you to be engaged. All right. So let's take a look at the 5 challenges that procrastination that show up as procrastination. Overcoming procrastination can be easily challenging because we all have different reasons for doing it. What I'd like for you to do now is probably pause the video. And what is one thing you wish you would stop delaying, avoiding, or postponing? What is that one thing? And then we're going to look at these 5 things, and I want you to assign the main number to that thing you are avoiding. So there, I actually had purchased a program that I wanted to work through. That program has been sitting in my office for a minute, y'all, for a while, for a long while. And it was in a noticeable place, but I just wouldn't get to it. And I was thinking, wait a minute, you've spent your money. Why are you not getting to that? So, and even as I was doing this particular webinar, I said, why am I not getting this done? When I looked at the challenges, I recognized and realized what my reason was. And how about I finished all of the coursework? I am reviewing the material to take the test, and I will be taking the test. I'm recording this on a Wednesday on the 26th of October 2022, and I will test out on the 27th. I'm not playing with me. Okay. No more procrastination. All right. So the plague of perfectionism, perfectionism sort of masquerades as something that's really good because you have high standards. That's the way perfectionism comes across. And you put off important obligations, but it can be quite detrimental because you want it to be perfect. Don't confuse perfectionism with excellence. You want to be excellent, but guess what? Trying to be perfect often is unrealistic because some days you're going to be really good, and some days you're going to be a little bit good, and some days you're going to blow it, and it's okay. You want to keep going. All right. That's the key. All right. So procrastination occurs as a result of thinking such a standard will never be achieved. And then you're like, well, why should I even try? I can't achieve it. And you can see how that then allows things that need to get done undone. The next one is fear. This particular slide is going to get real busy in a moment. All right. But I wanted to get all of the concepts in. You'll be thinking through it, and it'll make sense. I would never show this live, but on a webinar, I will, because you can get away with that. Fear is a deeply rooted cause of procrastination. From the fear of failure to the fear of success, fear can be crippling, is deeply rooted, and a deeply rooted cause of procrastination. It can cripple you and devastate you. See fear as a final result. So in other words, failure, actually, that word should be failure. You see failure as a final result and not a stepping stone. So we don't want to fail. Okay, so if I fail, that's a final result. And then it's going to permanently stain my reputation. And when that happens, I'm a failure. Not I failed, I'm a failure. Now, on the other side of this is you do well, you're successful, right? But your perceived expectation to achieve more from those who see you as having done well causes you to shrink back. It may be, I don't want to work that hard, or I don't want that pressure. All of life has pressure. Do you know how you get a diamond? You get a diamond through the pressure of it. And a diamond goes through it and it becomes what it is. It's in the crucible of things that we shine. So, but perceived expectations to achieve more will cause us to step back and procrastinate. And what happens is we actually sabotage our own potential of success. So failure, success, remember, is more comfortable with just thinking for people to think that I'm incompetent than that I failed. In fear, this emotion is deeply ingrained, okay? Fear is a deeply ingrained emotion. And last webinar, we learned when we did letting go of fear, and you can see that on YouTube, that webinar is up there. We talked about this new concept that we learned was atikiphobia, and that's the fear of failing. Who knew there was even such a thing? But that's going to cause procrastination, y'all. All right, then the lack of motivation. Okay, procrastinators often think they must be fully motivated to begin a task. I used to do a time management class, and in the time management class, there was this English guy, an older English guy, and what he would say is, don't be messing with no motivation. Don't be waiting for no motivation. That's just how he would say it. Get started. The key is this can be unrealistic, and in many cases, progress leads to motivation. So when you're waiting to be fully, and look at that, fully motivated, you stand still, y'all. You stand still. So once you get the project underway, you get excited and you get to moving and you get to working. And so don't let the lack of motivation, that's escapism. The next one is the lack of interest, okay? So what's one thing you do that you have a total lack of interest? Okay. Some people say doing the dishes, doing the laundry, changing a baby's diaper. Okay, who wants to change that? And maybe filing. There's always something that we don't like to do. So avoiding tasks we find unappealing, taking out the garbage, is understandable. But the point is that if you don't do it, nothing ever gets accomplished. Can you imagine your house and you haven't washed the dishes, you haven't done the laundry, and you haven't taken out the garbage, and the baby's still soiled? Houston, we have a problem. I'm not coming to visit you. From changing diapers to filing paperwork, there are many jobs we wish to avoid. All right. And when we are in this avoidance mode, our stress gets higher because we still know that there's some expectation, whether it's internal or an external expectation, that this gets done. All right. And then the last one is distractions. I call this one the squirrel, right? That gets the best of you. It's like anything can distract you. Email, social media, addictive games, smartphones, you're playing Candy Crusher, internet, gossip. They can keep us from doing important work. And we relish them because then we don't have to do that thing that we didn't want to do. So remember in the very beginning of these 5, things that I talked about. What is the one thing you wish you would stop delaying, avoiding, or postponing? What is it? All right. And then what is your reason for doing it? So let me put those up. The 5 that we just looked at: perfectionism, fear, lack of motivation, lack of interest, and distractions that get the best of us. All right. So for me, I figured out the reason why I had not did that program, because I actually lost interest in it. It was there and it was kind of needling me a little bit. And that was because I had paid my money and I don't like to waste my money. So that's why it was still top of mind in a way. But it was because I had lost interest. I wasn't afraid of it. And I wasn't afraid of being perfect, but that was mine. So hopefully you now have yours. All right, let's keep moving. I know that this is a long list and I'm putting it up there. And if you notice, I have put a little icon here that tells you to take a picture of this slide. And because you are looking at this on YouTube, you can just hit pause. So we're going to go through these 9 techniques. And I want you to be looking at them. That's why a picture is really good, because while I'm talking about them, you can look at your phone and see which ones are really resonating for you as you look at the list. And I'll show you the list a little bit later. All right. So 9 techniques for breaking through procrastination. That's what these are. And I want you to examine where you want to start. Remember that area that you have already identified, okay? And you now know the challenge to it. Let's figure out now, how are we going to break through that? And here are some things we can do. The first one is change your mindset. And this is especially true if you are a perfectionist, because a lot of times what happens is we get a fixed mindset. There's been some research done by Carol Dweck, and she has a book called The Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. This is an excellent book, and you can get it in your library, and you can listen to it on audio. I got it from the library and listened to it, the audio version of it. Excellent, because it talks about mindsets, fixed mindsets versus those mindsets that are more flexible, okay, and they're not fixed. Now, what happens with a fixed mindset is what you believe that your abilities are set in stone. So you focus only on your current intelligence or talents. Thinking more cannot be developed. My friend Carnell, I told you that she was a social worker and she was retired, but she was always learning. She didn't have a fixed mindset. It's like it's always something out there to learn, and she didn't let her health stop her as well. This mindset can hinder one's ability to grow, learn, and make positive changes. So we don't want a fixed mindset. We want that mindset that explores, that is willing to take risks and to push beyond our boundaries. Now, this slide is busy, but I want you to take a picture of this one as well, or stop it and pause it and write it down. But these are, when we're facing fear, we have to ask ourselves questions. I know when I'm procrastinating or I'm not moving, I ask myself, what are you afraid of? And I told you I wasn't afraid of doing that program, but sometimes I am, okay? And then I have to identify it, and then I have to hit the poof dust, because it's like, okay, now that you've admitted that, let's move past the fear. Do it anyway. I'm not going to go over all of these, but why am I putting this off? That you want to ask yourself that. Number 5, how often do people actually die? Because sometimes you think, well, if I do this, I'm just going to die. You're not. It's from this. Who dies from standing up and giving a presentation? Okay. Who dies from writing that book? Who dies from the podcast? Who from doing a podcast? Who dies from getting their budget and finances in order? I'm just saying, y'all. And then I like the last one here to ask yourself, am I actually scared? Or was I just told this was scary? Because, people can talk you out of things. And they'll say, I wouldn't do that. That is just too much, right? And oh no, I would be scared to do that. So because they would be scared, that you own that, and that becomes your scaredness. Oh no, no. And here's another, let me put another plug in here for Les Brown, who he says OPP, which means only positive people. You got folks in there, don't procrastinate putting them out of your life, okay? We need positive people around us, all right? Or at least limit their access to you. All right, the next thing is listed out. A to-do list is just that. And what you want to do is you want to put deadlines to each task. Work in a finite time period. Make a master list if you have a lot of things, if it's a big project, and you can set weekly and daily goals and tasks around that. With me deciding that I was going to do that program, I set a deadline for this Friday. And I am going to exceed my deadline because it's going to come earlier. So when you nail yourself down like that, you'll get better results. Having specific deadlines will help you build a sense of momentum and build your confidence as you complete tasks. Now, it's no use of learning these 9 techniques that will help you break through procrastination if you don't select 1, 2, or 3 of them and do them consistently. Just to know them does not get you closing the gap between intention and acting. All right. You want to do things consistently. Here's another one, baby steps. A lot of times it's a big, overwhelming project. Somebody says, I want to write a book. Okay, you want to write a book. The question is, how do you write a book? Well, guess what? You write it one sentence at a time. And so I know someone who did some writing, and what she said to me, she said, in fact, she's published several books, and she says, Allison, what I did to write my book was I got up early in the morning from 4:30 to I think it was 5:30. There was her writing time before her house woke up and everything. That's when she would get up and she would write because she really wanted to publish these books. And she had a deadline, and she knew about how long she wanted to work, and she got it done. As you complete each small task, each page that you're writing on the book, and you get it done, that's a celebration time for accomplishments. And the pieces begin to fall into place on what you have been putting off, and you find yourself being able to get it done. All right, this one, take a picture of this one. This is about distractions, removing the distractions. Remove any temptations and only think about the task at hand. All right. If you need to cut the TV off, if you need to cut the music off, whatever it is, record your temptations and directly address them. What's getting in the way of you getting things done? All right. A lot of times when we think about procrastination, we procrastinate on a lot of things and we let everything distract us. When it comes to our health, I'm supposed to get out walking. I want to start eating right. And everything gets in the way of us getting things done. A lot of times we procrastinate about our health. We don't make those appointments. We don't do those screenings that we need to do. That's not good. Finances. I want to retire, but I'm not saving anything. I need a budget, but it's too hard, that type of thing. No, get going. You can do this. If you need a budget, I'm gonna put a plug in for Dave Ramsey. His budgeting every dollar, it's called. It's so easy. Even I did it. Even I did it. And at this point, I am totally out of debt, y'all. So and I chafed at budgets for years. Okay, so in bottom line, let's get started. Okay, remove any distractions, those mental distractions as well as those physical barriers. Don't try to work with your email on or your social media on and it's going beep. That's a recipe for disaster. All right, number 6, tackle the hard stuff first. If you go out on YouTube and you look up Stephen Covey and look up big rocks, all right, put the big rocks in first. If you just put Stephen Covey big rocks, it'll come up. And this is part of his time management and how we should tackle things. And he talks about the fact that he shows you, it's an illustration, it's an old video, and but it's a classic, and he shows you what you do and how to handle the big rocks. You don't put in sand and pebbles and smaller rocks and then think you're going to get the big rock in the fishbowl. It's not going to work. You got to put the big rock in first, then you can put those other things around it. All right, so tackle the hard stuff first. Start your toughest tasks first. I know when I do this and I get finished with it, I'll say like, I'm going to take 3 hours and I'm going to do X. When I get finished with those 3 hours and I've either completed it or I've done as much as I want to do on it that day, I feel energized. And I'm everything else that I'd have to do that day, guess what? It's easy, right? It carries me right to the next task and I get more things done. The idea of multitasking, it's all the research tells us that it's a misnomer. We don't multitask well. We do a lot of things and actually we get more involved in the busyness of life than we do in the industriousness of tasks and things, and not getting those big things that need to be done in our life completed. All right, let's see. Number 7 is the 2-minute rule. Now, I got to be honest with you on this one. This one's a little stretch for me because I'm thinking, okay, they say the research tells us this is a psychological trick. And if you decide that you have something that you're going to do, you want to give it 120 seconds. Because that's a manageable number to get started. All right. The idea of facing a project head on for only 2 minutes can relieve a ton of pressure. All right. That's what this. So we want to relieve the pressure. Chances are just getting started is enough to keep you going. I know I can't do anything for 2 minutes. All right. It's going to take me longer. And I know that once I do it, once I start, I'm gone. So, but if you try this and it works for you, I want you to, you're going to see my email at the beginning of the video or at the end, YouTube, whatever. Hit me up and let me know if the 2-minute rule works well for you. I am so curious about that one because I have some things that I want to do and like clean my shower, y'all. But by the time I get all of the supplies out and everything, it's going to be like, I'm not going to get it out. It'll take me 2 minutes to get the supplies up the steps and everything. And then what am I going to do? I'm not going to just stop. I'm going to do the shower. Maybe that's the point. All right, let me keep going. Number 8, hold yourself accountable. All right. Your to-do list, when you have your to-do list, put it in your planner. Enough. For some people, this is enough, and it makes them feel accountable. Sometimes you can get a partner You want to start walking, they want to start walking. Well, guess what? Hold each other accountable. No excuses. We're going to do this. All right. So that's a good thing. Sometimes when I'm coaching people, they don't like the word accountability. A lot of senior leaders, they don't like accountability. I don't want to be accountable. I ask them, what is your assurance mechanism? What's the mechanism that you put in place to make sure that you do what you say you want to do? That normally, I was like, yeah, well, okay, I need to do something. The next thing I want you to do, and I want you to think about this with that project that I've asked you to kind of think through as we go through this webinar, right? What commitment score would you put on this from a score from 1 to 10? So my commitment to my program that I didn't do for the longest was maybe a 3 or a 2. And when I decided, oh, okay, this is what's going on with me, then and the fact that I became interested in it again, it became a 8 for me. So I was committed to an 8. And actually, it turned into a 10 because I got it done. Because once I started writing it down, then I was like, no, this is a 10. We're going to get this done. And I stopped doing some other things to make sure this got done. And then follow through strategies. What obstacles going to get in the way? And build contingencies. When I was a Dale Carnegie trainer, that's one of the things that we talked about. What are the obstacles in goal setting, and what are your contingencies? And you don't just have, okay, so Sue drops by my cubicle and she's going to spend 15 to 20 minutes talking to me at my cubicle about the Macy's sale down the street. Okay. That's eating my time and I have something to do. So my first contingency would be, we know Sue's the obstacle. The contingency is I'm going to tell my boss I'm going to work in the conference room for the next 2 hours to get this project done. And she says, you can't use the conference room. It's already booked. Now, what do? I go back to my desk and I sit there and I know Sue is going to interrupt me. No. Contingency number 2. I'm going to put a piece of paper up at my cubicle saying I am working on a project and please do not disturb. And for the next couple of hours, fine, I can give a time. The third thing I can do is another contingency to go tell Sue, I'm working on a project that I have to get done today. So when I get done, I'll come check on you and I'll come talk to you. All right. I can't take any disturbances right now. Now I have 3 contingencies that I can do for that one obstacle that I know is going to distract me. You got it. All right. When we do all of these, it will increase your desire to accomplish. When you have a strategy, when you have a commitment, when you have accountability or some type of assurance mechanism that you get it done. All right. You all are doing great. The number ninth breakthrough technique is no more excuses. Get rid of them. Okay, we are all prone to procrastinate. It is up to you to determine whether your procrastination habits are getting in the way of accomplishing your goals or even harming your health. Okay, if you're not going to the doctor, you're not going to the dentist, you are harming your health. Your knees are hurting, your hips are hurting, but you're afraid. Fear is getting in the way. I can tell you, having the doctor make the right diagnosis and the right treatment is better than going through all that pain. And some people go through it for years and then they go. And then, of course, at that point, a lot of times it's worse and you've done more damage. All right. Same thing. You don't want to get to the time when you want to retire and realize you got $200 in your savings account. Hello. All right. Hello. Did you really need that new handbag? All right. And then another thing is have fun. That's one of those things that we need to incorporate. Some of us don't even have fun in life. And you might be saying, have fun. What she talking about have fun? I ain't got no time for fun. I have a whole lot of stuff to do. No. See, fun is part of your health, part of self-improvement. Laughing is really good for you. I can tell you that. So friendships and relationships, all of this needs to be put in, and not, don't procrastinate with it. Do what it can be. Like maybe you go to a ball game, or you go to a symphony, or a play, or whatever it is, the theater. Maybe it's just hanging out with one of your crazy friends, your friends that just will have you rolling. I got a few of those friends. Just thinking about them makes me laugh. And we will just go, and they will have me cracking up. Okay, they'll have me cracking up. That's good. Laughter is good for the soul. I think that's in Proverbs, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure. Also, your faith. Your faith. If you are a Christian believer and you want to read the Bible, or a better devotional time, or whatever, put it in. Okay, stop procrastinating. Stop playing games, right? Get to moving. If your thing is meditation, or whatever, however you experience the spiritual side of you, that's important. And so you want to make room and stop procrastinating on that as well. All right. One of the things that we do with these excuses, and I know I'm spending a little bit of time here, but somebody must need to hear this. A lot of times we don't do things because we are too busy, too stressed, too risky, too uncertain, too inexperienced. I don't have this degree. I'm not smart enough, or whatever it is. And a lot of times, and you heard me say this in some of our other webinars, we have the intellect. We don't have the implement. Let me say that again. We have the intellect, but we don't have the implement. We want to get into motion. We want to get into action. Don't wait for motivation. Do it scared. Do it unprepared. Do it again. And when I say do it unprepared, you really are prepared. You really do have the information. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. That's the key. All right. And so the bottom line is we want to accomplish more. What we've taken a look at, and you notice that we didn't talk about laziness, and we really didn't talk about time management. A lot of times procrastination can be confused with laziness, but as you now know, being lazy has nothing to do with it most of the time. All right. At the fundamental core, we procrastinate when we allow our emotions, those challenges, to influence our ability to get moving. And then we think that we have to be motivated to get moving. That's what stops us. Stop overthinking how much needs to be done and simply start. Keep in mind why you want to do this. Make sure that you take breaks and accomplish your goals. You actually deserve to do that. So, with that in mind, these are the 9 things that we went over. Change your mindset, face the fear, list it out, baby steps, remove distractions, tackle the hard stuff first. It's a 2-minute rule. If you do that, let me know how that works. Hold yourself accountable and no more excuses. Here's your first practice in accountability and not procrastinating, okay? Which technique will you begin with for that issue that you have already identified, that you say that you have been avoiding, prolonging, pushing it off, procrastinating? All right. What is that item? Let's put this into practice. Pause the video and do that for yourself. Okay, let's keep going. Finally, here's another thing I want you to not to procrastinate on. This is your second assignment. All right. Please leave a positive comment about this webinar and why I would be a great coach on any or all of our social media platforms. I want to boost my social media presence, and it's through comments and your feedback on those medias that's going to help me. So I'm asking you, and I'm not procrastinating and asking you to go to YouTube, subscribe, follow us, but leave comments of the impact this particular webinar or any of the webinars that we have out there or that you've been on. Just show some love. Okay, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate those of you that continue to come. It's exciting. All right, success is within your reach. Triumph and not cost is what we are after. You have looked at the reasons or the challenges of procrastination, and you have 9 wonderful techniques to get started and break through your procrastination and that thing that you're not getting done. Start accomplishing your goals. Enjoy the success you deserve, because you deserve success. Text me with your thoughts or questions. Also, this is a resource page. Again, take a picture, and there's some great articles there. And if you need the link, just give me a call, because we have this stuff in the link in a link format as well. We've done all of these webinars, and we are still interested in group coaching. Our group coaching course is free to thrive. And if you're interested, and we have 7 weeks, 7 people, 90 minutes is how long it will be. Give me a text message and let me know your name and availability, and we can converse about it, and I will give you more information. The next thing is, what is your next step? I always tell you that there's individual coaching with me, and I would love to be your coach. I would love to be your coach. So contact me at my website, or you can go to, just send me an email and we can schedule a call. The free life calling assessment is out there. It's free. If you put in the number 727, you will, next to your name, I know that you came to one of the webinars, and you'll get a free 20-minute coaching session with me. The next webinar is going to be Monday, November 21st. And we will be dealing with being mindful in the midst of chaos. We're getting into holiday seasons, and things can get really chaotic, trying to close down, trying to figure out what you did this year and what you're going to do next year, and just all of the stress that comes with the holidays. We're going to deal with that, and we're going to miss Thanksgiving. And then we'll have we're going to push the next webinar up for December, and we're going to do that December 14th, Core Values Reimagined, getting you ready for next year. Where are your values? Because your values drive a lot of what you do. Your values drove you to come to this particular webinar. I'm glad you came. I'm excited that you're here. So with that said, thank you for coming and eliminating that procrastination that's been there. Don't procrastinate. Visit us on any of our channels, our social media platforms, as well as you always have access to me. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.